those who were asking when will we get the spring seasonal, let's talk about it. Hello heroes and villains, welcome to Multiverse. So the spring seasonal is almost here. It will be here on Tuesday, April 1st, 2025. Yes, that does mean that we will have the April's full seasonal and the spring seasonal at the same time. For the April's Fool, I have no information about that, so we will have to wait for Tuesday in order to find out what it is. And even for the spring seasonal, I don't have all the information just yet, so I will share with you guys what I know, and for the rest, we will have to wait for Tuesday to get all the information. It's sad, but that is how it is. So first, we will get the Spring Blossoms Aura. Sadly, I don't know how expensive the Aura will be in the vendor. We're gonna have to find out on Tuesday. So here we can see what the Aura looks like. It's a pretty nice looking Aura. I have to admit, they've been raising their game for some of the styles. Like the previous Aura we got was pretty amazing. And this one looks pretty good as well. So if you need an extra Aura for your nature character, this will be a great Aura for your character. There is a post on the DCUO forums talking about the spring seasonal. Basically, from what I understand, they have raised the price of the spring seasonal items pretty much the same way they did with the St. Patrick's. So sadly, it would seem that there will be a pretty big inflation on the styles and the base items on the spring seasonal. It's sad, but that seems to be the direction that the devs are taking with those items. Obviously, they are trying to encourage people to purchase currency from the marketplace, or they are trying to increase playtime by making it more expensive so that people have to play and play more in order to be able to get the currency they need to purchase the items. But either way, people are not too happy about the prices being raised on all the seasonals items. And there will be a new skin added to the game. It's going to be the floral tattoo skin. As usual, there are 3 different skins, although the only real difference is the facial features. We'll take a look at that in just a minute. And if you don't care about the facial features, you could decide to give skin number 1 to one character, skin number 2 to a second character, and skin number 3 to a third character. Like very often people will use styles that have like a full face mask or a full head piece that completely covers the head. If that's the case, you don't have to give all 3 skins to one character. You could decide to give it to 3 different characters if you want to. So here we can see what the skin looks like. It is inspired by the evil Black Mercy. It is a plant that was, we saw it in the Justice League cartoon. I think the episode was The Man Who Has Everything. And basically, the evil Mongol gave a Black Mercy to Superman. And it's a plant that takes over its host and gives it some sort of hallucination in a dream world, a perfect dream world for the character, and that keeps him pretty much a prisoner of his hallucination. The Black Mercy comes actually from a comic, a Superman comic written by Alan Moore, but I think seeing how it's a plant that gives you some sort of hallucination, I think Alan Moore got a little too many hallucinations from plants way back when he wrote that story. So here you can see the different facial feature for skin number 2. So again, if you don't care about the facial features, if you're wearing a full head mask or a full head piece that covers the face, then you could decide to give the skins to different characters. And here you can see the facial features for the 3rd skin. Overall, it's a nice enough looking skin, and we are getting some base items with the spring seasonal. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of plants, but it's better than getting no base items, I guess. So these are the base items we're getting this year with the spring seasonal. So these are a bunch of alien plants like the evil Black Mercy. Although I'm surprised, I would have thought that one of them plants would have been the actual Black Mercy. Maybe in the future spring seasonal. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see for that. Again, I don't have all the details, but my educated guess is that the rewards we just saw will be on the vendor. But there will be other rewards that we will get, what I assume to be from the seasonal event. So I assume we will have to play the seasonal event at least 20 days in order to be able to get those rewards. But take that with a grain of salt at this point. We'll know for sure on Tuesday. So the first thing we're looking at is a new iconic power, the Spore Pod iconic ability. So basically you throw a whole bunch of spores at some enemies and it does a whole bunch of damage over time. Let's take a look at the ability in battle. So we're going to use the evil sparring targets that are modeled after our friend Deathstroke. And let's try out the ability and see what happens. So it does some sort of spore cloud, and then you can see here it does a bunch of damage, but then there's some sort of explosion that appears, that happens, and then it spreads the damage to some of the other targets. And it does last quite a bit, so you can see the damage over time going and going and going. Oh, and now it's gone. So it starts with basically you send the spores on your enemies. It does infect 3 targets to begin with, but then it does spread to 3 other targets. And I assume if there was more targets, it might spread to even more targets afterwards. And also we can see there's a whole bunch of nice criticals that happens with this ability. So you might be tempted to combine it with the Candle of Neron, which would benefit from those criticals. And you can see the range, it has a pretty nice big range. One of the complaints I saw with the previous Shadow ability that we got, the Shadow Iconic ability that we got not too long ago, was the range. The Shadow ability has a pretty short range, but here in this case, the range is pretty long. Although I'd be careful in certain environments, like if you're into a corridor or something like that, if you try to throw it to an enemy that's too far away, odds are your attack will probably hit the ceiling or something. So depending on where you are, it might be a bit tricky to use. And here we have some new henchmen that will be added to the game. So we can see here the Elite Backup Uplink Device and Virotech. And you can see in the description what the henchman does, but we will see that in just a minute in battle. Also, one thing to specify is that they will do 10% more damage if you summon them during the spring seasonal event. Let's take a quick look at what the henchman looks like. So basically it's 3 guys in a hazmat suit, and there's one guy that's a bit bigger than the rest. We still have the thing where 2 of them are kind of mushed together. Let's see if we can split them apart. There we go. I did skip ahead a bit because they do last longer than the usual henchmen. But here I just wanted to show what the henchman actually looks like. We will take a look at how long they actually last in battle when we do test them in battle in just a minute. But here I wanted to get a good look at what the henchman actually looks like, which is basically 3 guys in a hazmat suit, which we've seen 1,000 times before in the game. I understand that it kind of fits with the theme of the seasonal, but I wish they would give us henchmen that are actually DC themed, as opposed to something generic like 3 guys in a hazmat suit. So here you can see there's the big one will go into melee with his big shovel, and the other 2 guys will fire from a distance. And there will be also, there's some plant effect that appears from time to time. Also, there will be some sort of bubbles that will appear, and those bubbles can heal ally players. Or just allies. They could heal also your summons, I assume, and whoever's on your side. So here you can see the bubble. So basically this is supposed to be able to heal players, but seeing how I didn't take any damage, I wasn't able to get healed by the bubble. So if you ever see those bubbles appear in the game, go grab them if you need some extra healing. I could see that being useful. Like very often the tank will complain whenever there's some summons. The tanks will complain that the summons are making their work their job harder. But here, if there is some bubbles that are being summoned around the tank, I'm sure the tank will be happy about that. Also, there's only the big guy with the shovel that goes into melee. The other 2 guys, as you can see, stay pretty much in range attack. So there's only the big guy that might interfere with the tank a little bit. So the trade-off is that the shovel guy might interfere with the tank, but the bubbles will heal the tank. So it's a bit of a trade-off, I guess. So there you go, guys. So these are the new rewards for the spring seasonal for 2025. So we got a new aura, a new skin, some new base items, a new iconic ability, and some new henchmen that are a bit more powerful than the traditional henchmen. So some elite henchmen. So when will we get the spring seasonal? The spring seasonal will go live Tuesday, April 1st, 2025. So if you've been asking when will we get the spring seasonal, now you know.